but it is the #1 issue facing our city. And we know that to stop the violence, first we must give our police officers the tools and support to enforce the laws on the books, and we are doing that in many ways, including the Community Engagement Response Team. We also need to address the root causes of violence, and we are doing that by addressing poverty and drug use, creating more affordable housing, providing safe spaces and alternatives to violence for our children, bringing more jobs to Knoxville, and providing a variety of grants and internship programs for our youth. And yet still, our homicide rate is not slowing down, and we must do more right now. We need someone to coordinate and increase collaboration between city, community, and volunteer sources, and this needs to be a full-time job. This past spring, we conducted a series of community walks and meetings that reinforced how many departments and organizations intersect when it comes to helping keep our neighborhoods safe. In these walks, we heard concerns about street lighting, equipment for after-school activities, access to community centers, partnerships with faith leaders, increased police patrols, traffic calming, sidewalks, gang activity, and many more concerns that cross all city departments. So just to reiterate, this encompasses many city departments and groups, including but not limited to Knoxville Police Department, Knoxville Fire Department, engineering, public service, community empowerment, and of course our area nonprofits, churches, and neighborhood groups. To help coordinate all these efforts and to implement new strategies in our community, I am adding a new cabinet-level position, Director of Community Safety. And today, I'm proud to announce that LaKenya Middlebrook will be taking on this first ever role for the City of Knoxville. I'm fully confident that LaKenya is the right person to fill this crucial role in our city. LaKenya Middlebrook is a respected community leader. She has established relationships with KPD, KFD, and many other community partners. She truly has a passion for finding solutions and helping others. I will also be requesting council approval to utilize a portion of the American Rescue Plan funding to support an additional position to support LaKenya in this new role. Ms. Middlebrook will report directly to me, and we will have regularly scheduled meetings one-on-one and with other key leaders in the city and in the community. I know she is eager to get started and to build on the foundation of programs and research already underway. So I'm going to turn it over to LaKenya right now to come to the podium and say a few words about the work ahead. Ms. Middlebrook.
Thank you, Mayor Kincannon and everyone here today for your confidence in me to lead this important work as we start this new department here in our city. I know that we all feel a sense of urgency right now to see change in our city. This urgency is felt by so many. It is real. It's an urgency to create safe communities for our children, for our neighbors, our coworkers, and our friends, and an urgency to see an end to senseless violence here in Knoxville. Many of the solutions that are going to be necessary to make these changes will take years, but we don't have years. And there are things and strategies that we are committed to doing in the near term to save lives today, because every life matters here in our community. Our city is hurting, our neighbors are hurting, we are all hurting, and that hurt impacts all of us. I can promise that I've been studying methods and strategies for violence reduction and interruption. We've been having conversations with those on the front lines, and we are ready to start implementing some new efforts alongside efforts that are already existing here in our community to see a significant impact on violence reduction. Just a few weeks ago, members of the Community Empowerment Team traveled to Memphis, and we had the opportunity there to talk with folks who are on the ground doing violence interruption, as well as city staff who are leading those efforts and strategizing with the community to see violence reduction. We had the opportunity to watch training in action and to coordinate with other stakeholders in the community who are doing that work and additional city partners, not only our partners in Memphis, but also in Nashville, who were there for the same purpose as we were. So this is a concerted effort, it is a coordinated effort, and we are committed to working not only with our partners here locally, but across the state to see reductions in violence here in our community. We've also been talking with other trusted sources, folks like Urban Peace Institute, the Health Alliance for Violence Intervention, which we commonly call HOBBY, around hospital-based interventions, National Networks for Safe Communities, and even the gentleman who wrote the book on violence reduction, Mr. Thomas App, has been a great resource for us here at the city. And so I'm standing here today ready to announce some additional steps that will be happening soon after my transition into this new role. In the coming weeks, we will be leading a team to Louisville, which will include city staff and community members to do a site visit and observe some of the strategies that we've been looking at in action to help us better prepare to implement those here in our community. We will be planning to host a virtual HOBBY conference, which again is the Health Alliance for Violence Interruption, to help begin the process of understanding how hospital-based interventions can really impact our community and be of great service to those who are struggling and impacted by violence. And then also hosting a larger virtual community webinar with some of the trusted partners that I've already mentioned to give more insight into how violence interruption strategies actually work and how they can be built out here locally. Through these methods and others, we will be deciding on some of the next steps to implement into our violence interruption plan. We've already identified the importance and need for street outreach and are working with some key partners on building capacity to build out that work, hospital-based interventions, as I've mentioned, and focused deterrence or group violence intervention, which will involve key stakeholders, including members of law enforcement, the faith community, as Mayor Kincannon mentioned, and our service providers. This work is critical to our city. It must be done right, without duplication of services or efforts, and everyone must be on the same page. I'm eager to help facilitate that coordination and take the next steps in creating a safer Knoxville, and I look forward to working with so many in our community to do that. And again, I'm grateful to Mayor Kincannon for her confidence in me to lead this work. And I think at this time now we'll take a few questions.
Absolutely. Ms. Middlebrook, congratulations on the role.
Thank you.
It's a tough one.
Yes.
You said it's not going to happen overnight, but it needs to happen soon. What are some of the kind of first strategies that you think folks might see on the ground? You mentioned community outreach.
Yes, so street outreach, it's also called violence interruption, is a key strategy that we've been digging a lot into and getting a lot of guidance on as we talk to partners who are experts in the field, as well as some of our partner cities. This is a key element that has worked in their community. And a lot of times we have folks in our communities who are doing this work kind of ad hoc. It's more of a passion. But one of the things that we realize is that the importance of professionalizing this work and coordinating it and not having duplication of services and making sure that that work is well resourced and the capacity is there. So that's something that we definitely are looking to build out in the near term to help build the capacity of folks in our community who are already on the ground to do so in a more effective way. And so we can expect to see that training start to manifest soon and to see that happening more often and more frequently and in a more coordinated and effective way.
For folks who don't know what street outreach is, what is it?
So street outreach, again, it's sometimes called violence interruption, utilizes folks who are members of the community. They are actually considered public health professionals in a lot of communities because it is a trained skill, but they're credible messengers in the community. They are folks who are connected, who are resourced. Some of them maybe have been a part of some unsavory activities in the past, so they understand where folks in the community are, and they're a trusted voice who are out talking to folks, engaging with folks, really getting ahead of violence before it happens and attempting to intervene and interrupt that cycle, and then connect the folks that they're working with to longer term resources that can help them continue to make different choices.
Chief Thomas, I'm in the safety member of the action, and how do you believe that this will make an impact?
And I wasn't really prepared to speak, but I think this is huge for us. This is a huge benefit to us to be able to connect with the community and be able to facilitate those relationships. And to have somebody coordinating these efforts and going at it from a different angle than just law enforcement is going to be huge in our response. And I'm very excited about this. And I've been able to work with LaKenya through Park, and I have a lot of faith in her, and I'm just really excited about it, to be honest with you.
I have another question for you, Ms. Middlebrook. What does success look like in this role? What does success look like for you?
Well, you know, one of the challenges of doing violence reduction work is that it's hard to measure things that don't happen, right? And so obviously we want to see a reduction in violent crime. We want to see a reduction in homicides. That's the key indicator to let us know that we're doing this work well. But it's also going to look like success stories from folks who are on the ground and folks who are in the field who can share with us incidents where they were able to intervene in a situation that potentially could have turned into a retaliatory situation. It's going to be, you know, seeing folks who were disconnected from services, connected to services. It's going to be measuring folks who, recidivism rates for folks who are coming back into our community and trying to reintegrate, because we know that that can be a great source of escalation of violence when folks are having a hard time re-entering into our community. So there's going to be a range of metrics that we'll be looking at, but obviously our biggest goal is to see reduction in homicides in our community and violent crime overall.
LaKenya, you've been running Park for the last few years. What are you going to take from that in this new role? Particularly, you know, your familiarity with the distrust that a lot of people in the community still have of KPD and of engaging with law enforcement and the city more broadly.
Well, I think, you know, I have been very, very blessed and fortunate to be a part of Park for, I guess, a little over 5 years now, going on 6 years in one capacity or another. First as a member of the committee and then as the executive director. And I think there are a lot of things that I will take from my time at Park. First and foremost, I understand and I see firsthand the willingness of our community to be involved and engaged, and the willingness of our community and the desire for our community to see real change and understand how they can impact that change. And it's going to be, you know, there's always going to be a period of trust building, whether it's with the police department, whether it's with the city as a whole, whether it's amongst organizations themselves, and learning how to work together. And so it's been a great experience for me, and I'm really thankful to have had it. But one of the things, like I said, that I will most take away is the willingness of our community to step up and be engaged and involved in these processes, and the need to have community at the table and involved at all levels.
Any other questions?
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I assume you'll be filling that Park role then in the near future?
Yes, I was in our meeting last week, and intentionally waited to make this change until after that meeting, and I will be appointing a successor before the next scheduled meeting. And in the meantime, Park is staffed. We have someone there who's continuing to oversee the Park processes, and people can still send in issues and concerns to that person. So there's no break in service, and I'll be appointing a successor in the near future.